just a hole that goes through my body, represents an internal void, emptiness, lack of emotion.
Church of Twan, go.
UFC 317, episode 220, Meat Boy, let's go. Finally, a good UFC card. It's been UFC abysmal all year. Last week was basically no different. Another snoozer of a card, but the Meatlock got back on track. You see us. Meek did back oral by easy, light work. Got it done in the first 2 minutes, essentially like we said. And I don't want to spend too much time on last week's card because it was pretty rough, Meat Boy, but I do want to put a fern in your cap. You called Roundtree and you said he would be too violent, and I think that was the perfect way to explain exactly what he did to Bumdog Hill, who is over the hill, because that was rough. No, never again will I pick him because he's just probably the worst champ in UFC history, and I don't want to sugarcoat it. But what did you make of anything from last week? Did anything stand out? Was it the Oral Goat Meatlock? Was it the meat event that you called? Anything stand out on UFC trash from last week?
Yeah, UFC trash. It just seemed like Jamal Hill was the trash man because he's got to be one of the worst champions in the history of histories. Um, Bogdan Bumdog, that was truly unfortunate. Can't believe Bumdog couldn't pull that one through. Like, what the heck? But other than that, it was pretty trash. But I'm just mind blown on how Jamal Hill ever became champion. I'm still trying to figure that out. Throw in the comments if you guys know how he did it.
It's one of the great mysteries of the world for sure. And like you said, we both picked Bogdan Grod as a dog last week. He was a Bogdan dog, and he got smoked. But either way, I went 3-2. You went 2-3. The Meatlock is back on track though, so you're gonna swap us through. It's finally a good card. And should we show the people this week's Meatlock dog?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get into it.
Swap us through then, straight into the abyss. It's a Meatlock dog. Talbology, Payton Talbot taking on Felipe Lima. And this is a great fight, an exciting fight. One that Talbology is taking on 2 weeks' notice and against a guy in Lima who is quite good, right? Like Felipe Lima is not an easy opponent, but we kind of think that Talbology, yes, he got exposed, 6 months ago against Raoni Barcelos, who is a levels test, but Talbot has been essentially dialed, right? He's making crazy content in the desert. He's masked up, making music, making content, and he's a guy who, as the intro alluded to, doesn't feel any emotion, right? He's got the black hole on his chest, doesn't get too high, but also doesn't get too low. So he's not a guy who's going to be coming into this contest shingled out, all sad, and instead is going to be in psycho mode, we think. And as a dog, Talbology gets back on track against Felipe Ligma. So what are your thoughts on this Meatlock dog? What gives you confidence that Payton Talbot will respond and will shut the naysayers up? And is this the last time that we're ever going to get Talbology as a dog?
I think this is gonna be the last time we get Tabology as a dog, and he's just always cool, calm, collected, not a care in the world, but a ruthless killer when the gates close at the Octagon. And I think he's gonna come out back out with that fire. It seems like once he shaved his head, he became a bum, but now he's got half fro, so now he's back to being the ultimate bro. So hopefully he gets this one done in dominant fashion. Honestly, he's fighting a great fighter, a hype level test. Clearly, he's got the odd favors, which we're going to capitalize on that because this guy doesn't have the experience that Tabology has, and you fight a veteran like Barcelos at that high level, you're bound to level up. So I think he's going to come in there as a sizzled vet now, feeling a vet, and going to smash this guy first, second round.
Yeah, good stuff. And Felipe Ligma, we don't think will try to be as offensively wrestling heavy as Raoni Barcelos was, and we think that could play into the game plan for Talbology. And this is one, Meat Boy, where it's funny how Talbology earlier in the week said that MMA fans essentially have the attention span of a goldfish, and there is some truth to that for sure. I mean, this is a guy who was like a minus 800 favorite last fight, and now he's a plus 150 dog and only getting 30% of the love on tap Talbology. So we're picking Talbot for this Meatlock. How do you think he gets this one done against Felipe Ligma? Is he going to snooze fest decision him, or do you think Ligma's getting finished?
I think he's going to get finished. I think Tabology is going to smoke Ligma and put him in the shadow realm in the first or second. I think second round for sure.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I mean, Ivan Luis slept Felipe Ligma, Jungle Boy. So if Ivan Luis can do that, we think Talbology can do the same. So we're capitalizing on this meatlock dog. We like Talbology to be better in all arenas. And that isn't to say that Jungle Boy isn't a talented hype beast of a fighter, but we think Talbology has more than he demonstrated in his last fight for sure. And we're going straight into the black hole, straight into the ocean, frankly, on this one by picking the Talbology dog. Meatlock dog. Any last thoughts on the meatlock?
No, this is another lock, and Talbology is definitely going to pull through.
Yeah, he's pulling through. And by the way, we're throwing down 100 to net 150. Easy light work. But swap us through, Meat Boy. RoboCop is taking on the Joker. This is a fun middleweight showdown, and one where Jack the Joker is a plus 160 dog, taking on the RoboCop minus 192, who seems like he's 40 years old, right? The dude's seemingly been in the UFC forever. Looks like an OG grizzled vet, but this dude's still only 31, peaking in his prime, and is really looking better and better these days. But we know Jack Hermanson as a dude who, despite how old he might actually be, is a quintessential levels test for a lot of these guys. I mean, I think the best recent example was that fight against your boy Bodybags Joe Pyfer, where Jack Hermanson really did well and I don't want to say dominated the unanimous decision, but clearly won at least 3 rounds and really sort of just set back Joe Pyfer. So it's another one of those fights where it's like, is RoboCop good enough to be on that Joker level, or is he too going to get sent back a step like Diaper Bags Pyfer did? So what are your thoughts on this middleweight showdown? Do you like Jack the Joker as a dog, or is this RoboCop easy light work?
Honestly, I think this is a RoboCop easy light work. I think RoboCop has more experience than Bodybags Pyfer and a better gas tank. Um, but the question is, does RoboCop hit harder than Joe Pyfer? Because if Joe couldn't put out Jack Hermanson, can RoboCop? I think RoboCop can. He's got new enhancements. He's upgraded from 1 to 2.6. He skipped 2, and he's new and enhanced, and I think he's going to send him to the Shadow Realm in the first round.
Yeah, 2.6, no doubt. And RoboCop is a dude who can really do it all, right? He's super well rounded. He's got the jujitsu base, so you would think he's always just gunning for takedowns, but this is a dude who can sleep you on the feet as well. And I think the best case for RoboCop in this one is the fact that it's a 3 round fight, right? That Body Bags Piper fight was a 5 rounder, right? Jack Hermanson has way more experience, was able to sort of leverage his gas tank across 25 minutes, and I don't think that Body Bags was quite ready for the 5 rounder. And frankly, I don't know if Gregory Rodriguez is either, but this is a 3 round meet down, and I think that favors RoboCop for sure. So I'm with you, me boy. I'm going to go RoboCop. 60% of Talbology is going with RoboCop, and a lot of it's Brown for the KO. So do you think that RoboCop is going to KO the Joker?
Yeah, I think he's going to KO the Joker. I think he's going to KO him, man, early first round, honestly.
Yeah, I'm going to be checking the submission odds too, because maybe there's a chance that RoboCop cracks him and it finds some sort of opportunistic sub on the ground. Because gotta imagine Vegas will be thinking that the Joker can survive on the ground and utilize his jujitsu, because obviously he's talented as well. So the odds might be a little bit undervalued in that arena. So I'm gonna go RoboCop. I'm gonna say second round finish. I'm gonna go second round submission for RoboCop, but I think this is a good fight, and I don't know if I would put RoboCop in parlays because I do like him a lot, but it's Jack the Joker, right? I mean, this dude he's often winning fights that you think he won't. So just be careful out there, tread carefully. But for Meat Boy's sake, we're both going RoboCop. Any last thoughts on this throwdown?
No, this is a solid fight, fun fight. Always like RoboCop fighting. You can't ever miss a RoboCop fight. And yeah, I think he's gonna win this one dominant fashion.
Yeah, good stuff. Can't miss a RoboCop fight for sure. Swap us through the Meat Boy because this one's fun. It might arguably be the most fun fight on the card, and that's probably a hyperbole given what's next. But this is a great fight. It's Brandon Roy Val taking on Joshua Van, and Van, like Talbology, is stepping in on short notice, ready to fill the shoes of Manel Kopp, aka Starboy, who loves to pull out of fights. And Van is a guy who will take fights. I mean, this dude is super active. He's getting a lot of experience already, which is amazing to see because the kid's only 22 years old yet. As far as prospects are concerned, this kid might have the most potential out of all of them, just giving how good he is with how young he is. And this is an amazing levels test against Brandon Royval, who is a guy I know you have a lot of respect for. You often pick Royval raw dog as a raw dog when a lot of people aren't. So in this one, he's a slight favorite, and there's a lot of people who think Joshua Van could be the next champ. So is this one of those fights where Joshua Van really just shows everyone how good he is, and that he is ready to be champ at such a young age, or is this similar to Jack Hermanson versus Piper, so to speak, where it's just going to be a little bit too much too soon for Joshua Van against Roybal?
I think that's what's gonna exactly be. I think it's gonna be one of those Piper versus Jack Hermanson, and Roy Val is no joke. I mean, he is, in my opinion, he's the GOAT that hasn't become champ yet. And so I think he is bound to. I think he's taking this hard fight, get some more respect, get some more net value for the company. So then they give him that title fight, and then I think he'll win it in the rematch. But this is such a good fight. It could go either way, but I gotta go with my boy Raw Dog. I think he'll Raw Dog his way to victory.
Yeah, good stuff. What do you make of his recent success? Because he's obviously won two straight beautiful decision victories over Brandon Moreno and Tatsuro Taira, who, similar to Joshua Van, was the next most hype beast at 125. But Royval's two recent fights were both split decisions, right? They were both very close fights. I think if they would have gone the other way, people wouldn't really have been screaming robbery. So what are your thoughts on the split decision? Does that worry you at all, or are you just impressed that this dude has wins over Moreno and undefeated hypebeast Tyra?
He definitely has a lot of hype behind him, but I don't know. I think Raw Dog is gonna get this done. He's just too dang good everywhere on the feet, on the ground, and I think he wins by submission actually.
Yeah, that'd be sweet for sure. I mean, we haven't really seen Joshua Van tested in that arena, just given how good he is on the feet and how he's really overwhelming dudes with his stand up. But if Royval can implement that aspect of his game, that could be a pathway for sure. But Tapology's with you, Meat Boy. 62% is going with Raw Dog, 38% going with Josh Van. Last final pitch for why you think Royval wins. Is he going to win on the feet as well, or do you think he has to get this fight to the ground? And when he does, we'll then have some success. How does this play? If you're taking him by sub, how does it get to that point?
I think he could win on the feet, but it's too much risk. So I think he's gonna, hit him a few times, get a takedown, and get the sub via rear naked choke. I'm thinking second or third round.
Second or third round, rear naked for the Raw Dog is where you're going, Meat Boy. This one's tough for me. I've been going back and forth. I mean, I have been quite impressed with Joshua Van. However, I like your points a lot in the sense that Royval is just super experienced, right? And we saw Royval versus Tyra. Tyra, everyone thought was, the next GOAT, and Royval got the dub against him. So perhaps he does the same thing here against Fearless Van, who, again, we're super impressed with what he's been doing. But the wins he's got, right? Edgar Shirez, Cody Durden, Ray Saruya, Bruno Silva, decent guys, but nowhere to the level of Moreno, nowhere to the level of the wins that Raw Dog has. So I'm with you, boy. I'm gonna go Raw Dog. I'm gonna go by decision though. I think this fight might go the distance, and perhaps Joshua Van even wins a round, but ultimately I will go Royval unanimous decision. However, if some of these rounds are close, Raw Dog might get Raw Dog zucked by the judges. So I worry if the moments are too close for comfort. So I'm gonna bank on the fact that there's gonna be two clear rounds for Raw Dog and he wins a decision. So any last thoughts on this one? Oh, and by the way, do you think the winner of this fight, if it's impressive, gets the next title shot?
I think Royval will, but I don't know if maybe he's kind of cleaned up everyone, so he could get it. I don't know. We'll see, I guess. But Royval, I think for sure gets it.
Yeah, I mean, if Joshua Van comes out here and sleeps Royval, then he definitely has a strong case as well. So good stuff there. Let us know in the comments who you are rolling with, but we are both taking the experienced Raw Dog as a slight favorite, minus 125. But swap us through, me boy. This next one's also fun, Meat Boy. It's Renato Moicano trying to get back on track after that absolute beatdown L of a last-second replacement title shot that he got against Islam when Arman Sarukian had a sore back. And if we remember, Renato was supposed to be fighting Dariush on that card initially. Dariush ultimately was the odd man out, fought no one that evening. Moicano steps in, gets smoked by Islam. So this is a rebound opportunity for a guy in Moicano who was lighting the world on fire, right? This dude was finishing everyone. Great finish over Jalen Turner. The stuff he was doing online. I mean, Renato Moicano was quickly becoming a fan favorite, but then he ran into Islam without a lot of notice, however. So this one's interesting against Dariush, who was a former legend. I mean, this dude has wins over Gamer Gamrot 3 years ago, but that was his last win, and he's only been getting slept, finished, and smoked since then. So what are your thoughts on this one against Moicano? Do you like that Moicano is coming in off that L and can remind everyone that he's still here? Or does that beatdown loss kind of worry you a little bit? Because Moicano, as we know, he really believed he was going to get that fight done. He really believed he was destined to be champ. And to get smoked in 3 minutes, I mean, that's got to perhaps do a little bit of damage on your psyche. So are you scared at all for Moicano, or is he rejuvenated and ready to make easy light work of a guy in Dariush who hasn't won in 5 years?
Yeah, Benny hasn't won in a minute, but you look at those two guys that he lost to, it's like, oh, makes sense. So I don't know. It's hard for me to believe that Benny is near Charles. I mean, Moicano is near Charles Oliveira level. I gotta take Benny on this. I have a slight hope this is gonna be his Usman moment where I wasn't sure if I could do it, but I took 8 years off and now I'm back at 40 and I did it. And Moicano's gonna go, ah, brother, I didn't even train, and that guy's a bad mother. And then it's the best promo ever. And then Benny probably gets cut after he wins. Moicano gets a title fight for the second time versus Taporia.
Wait, hold up. Did you say that Dariush wins the fight, but then gets cut and Moicano gets a title fight?
Yes.
Okay, you're gonna have to break that one down for me. But what are your thoughts on that? How does that square? How do you square that circle? I see where your head's at, Meepo. I mean, that's pretty crazy logic, but nonetheless, weird things do happen, especially in this division for sure. And it's an interesting fight, right? And I want to get a little bit more of a specific breakdown from you because it sounds like you're picking Dariush, right? You said he has an Usman-like moment. He returns with a vengeance, and Moicano you described as perhaps a little bit distracted. And to that point, if you've been watching Embedded this week, Moicano opened up his own gym, right? He's focused on the coaching aspect, really trying to build a local community. So perhaps he is a little bit focused on other endeavors and could be underestimating Dariush. So if you are taking Dariush, sounds like you are. How do you think he gets this one done over Moicano? Is it on the feet? Does he get a submission? Does it go the distance? How does he win?
Yeah, I think Benny wins by a KO or decision. Probably decision if I had to guess, but it's gonna be a great fight. I believe that Benny's still he's locked in. He's he's bringing in the Bible to the octagon, and you have Moicano running a business, stressing, getting employees, trying to do all these things, trying to be a YouTuber, trying to be a comedian. He's got so many things. There's just no way he could be 110% in the fight camp when he's got a lot of things going on, which those are good things going on, but it doesn't help you in a fight. So we'll see. Might be a little exposed, might be show that he's got too much for himself going on, while Benny's just locked in. He's been absorbing water every day to make sure the brain is fully recovered from those two brutal KOs. And he's not getting KO'd, and he's definitely not getting tapped. So it's either decision. I gotta take Benny on decision.
Yeah, I love the insight for sure. And we know Beneil Dariush is a guy who drinks a lot of water. So this is Money versus Benny. It's a very interesting fight. Talbology is rolling with Moicano. 75% is going with Money. Only 25% is going with Benny Dariush. But I really like your rationale, Meepo. I think that you made a lot of great points. I can't, however, abandon Moicano. And I've been riding Moicano since essentially the beginning. And despite the recent setback, I'm going to bank on the idea that he has a little bit more left in the tank at 36 years old than perhaps Dariush does. But if you're coming into this fight thinking that, it's Moicano the young guy versus Benny Dariush the old guy, I mean, these dudes are the exact same age, separated by literally a couple weeks, 2 weeks in fact, and the same size too. I thought initially that Moicano had a little bit more size on Dariush, but they're the same size, and Dariush is sneaky strong, right? We've seen him like out muscle dudes in there where it's like, from the eye test, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but Dariush is low-key sneaky strong. So if he goes in there and out muscles Moicano, it wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world for sure. But I'm gonna roll Moicano. I'm gonna say a close fight. However, I do think that there's a lot of life for Benny Dariush. And to your earlier point, perhaps he does get this victory, then get cut, and then Moicano gets a title shot. So any last thoughts on this one, me boy?
No. Easy win, gets cut, Moicano title shot. You heard it here first. On to the
Yeah,
next.
book it for my bad. Book it for sure. Swap us through the meat boys to call me, and the one that I'm excited to get your take on because it's your boy Alexandre Pantoja, the champ, the cannibal, who has been smoking everyone in this division and doing so very easily. I mean, the fact that he just absolutely destroyed that debutante hype beast and really made light work of the odds makers was a reminder to me, at least, that Pantoja is arguably the GOAT in this division. And he's taking on a guy in Kai Kara France who they've already fought, right? These dudes met years ago. I believe it was Contender Series or Ultimate Fighter, one of the two. And Pantoja picked up the decision win over Kara France. But Kara France, since then, has obviously improved. This is a dude who keeps winning fights. I mean, I hate to be the bearer of bad news and put a fern in anyone's feather, but this dude is winning every single fight he's in, and now he's a plus 215 dog, trying to actualize 2025 as the year of the Kiwi fighter. So, do you think there's life for Kara France? Do you think Pantoja is overlooking him and is thinking, oh, I already beat this guy, it's going to be easy light work again? Or is Pantoja that much better than Kara France, and he has not only this year, but more years as well as the champ?
Yeah, it's truly unfortunate because Kiker France ain't winning nothing, dude. Kiker France is an absolute bum. He does not win every fight. He won one fight of his last three. He got smoked by Brandon Moreno, smoked by Albumzi, and then he beat a washed up Steve Irsek who's on like an 8 fight losing streak. That guy's a bum. And he lost to him. So that kind of shows enough for me to just simply say this is easy light work. Pantoja wins via submission first round.
All right, I'm gonna offer a little bit of pushback on that one, Meat Boy. Washed up Steve Erceg is crazy, right? This is a dude who fought for a title, lost to Pantoja, performed well, won some rounds, looked pretty good in that fight, and then he fought Kara France and got absolutely slept. So to me, I think Astro Boy is not necessarily washed, and Kai Kara France might be a little bit better than you're alluding to. And you also mentioned the Albazi split decision. That was a historically awful decision, one of the worst of the year. A hometown judging Zuckery that somehow allowed Albazi to keep his win streak intact. But that fight was not close. Kai Kara France dominated that fight, and to me, this is a dude who, if you look at his last 6 fights, he really only has one loss against Brandon Moreno, and Brandon Moreno is obviously one of the goats of the division. So give me a little bit more. If you think Pantoja is going to get this one done in the first round, is he going to knock him out? Is he going to submit him? Because Pantoja, I mean, we know he is a finisher, right? He just smoked the debutante hype beast Kai Asakura, submitted him in the second round. But before that, he was kind of a unanimous decision or a split decision machine. So you think Kara France is going to go out there and just get absolutely smoked in one round?
I think so. I think Pantoja is just another level, and I think the Feather Boy Bum Dog is gonna get smoked, just like he got smoked versus Albumzi and Brandon Moreno. Honestly, I think right when Kaikar France does his little weird face he does every time, that's when you know he's gonna get knocked out because it always happens. So we're gonna see it again. He's won one of his last 10 fights. He'll probably he'll probably get another title fight. That's just how the UFC rolls. You know, they got no one else left. It's like, oh, just give him this bum again, and get no value. Then we'll cut the division because Conquer France, don't blink because you'll go to sleep. Because of boredom, not because he hit you. So Pantoja is gonna put him to sleep though by boa constrictor submission, first round.
Yeah, good points. Somewhat. I mean, I guess a little bit of pushback would be, whenever he does do that face that you mentioned, which first of all, he's doing the haka, right? This guy's Maori, and specifically in that moment, he's doing the pukana. But this is a guy who, when he drops that pukana, it basically means he's locked in, and it's kind of a meat lock pukana. So, I mean, I kind of think that Kai Kara France had some life in this one, Meat Boy. I mean, oh, and to also sort of push back on the Albazi, or did you say he got smoked by Albazi?
Smoked.
If I'm looking at MMA decisions, and it's telling a different story on that one. Yes, again, Almir Albazi emerged with a split decision, but of the 20 media backers, only 2 people had Albazi. 18 media shills rolled with Kara France, and majority of those had it 49-46. So again, historic robbery. Let us know in the comments if you even remember that fight. But nonetheless, Meat Boy, my final pushback will be: do you think that Kai Kara France? You mentioned, don't blink because you'll go to sleep, but is this a guy who could have the advantage on the feet because he's pretty fast, he's got a lot of sneaky power, and Pantoja does sometimes get hit. So if Pantoja can't get the easy light work takedown, is he threatened at all on the feet, or do you even see him smoking him there as well?
Ah, man. If it stays on the feet, if he smokes, I don't know, dude. He kind of smoked Brandon Moreno on the feet, and Brandon Moreno picked Kaikara apart. Easy light work on the feet. So, man, it would not surprise me, but I got to imagine that he's gonna want to take this to the ground because Kaikara, he if he clips him like that won't be good, but I don't know, dude. Can anyone clip Pantoja? I've never seen it. So I think Pantoja's gonna absolutely steamroll, just like he's been doing. Pantoja is unstoppable. The dude is the Terminator from Brazil.
Yeah, he's nasty for sure, and somehow I always find ways to pick against him. So I'm probably the one that's tripping over here. But either way, I'm gonna be tripping all the way to the bank because Kai Kara France is getting this one done. Alexandre Pantoja, the cannibal, is going to find zero additional bodies to feast on because don't blink. Kai Kara France is coming to absolutely sleep this guy. I think he's getting it done in the third round. I think he might lose the first 10 minutes or so, but something tells me this dude has a different sort of energy on his side, and he's going to find a way to get a YOLO finish in the third. So I'm going Kai Kara France. 90% of Talbology is with you, however, so only 10% going with you, boy. But any last thoughts in the comment?
No, it's a fun fight. It's a sick card, honestly.
Yeah, it is fun. It's a sick card nonetheless. Swap us through, me boy. It's the meat event. Ilia Topuria, Ilia Topturo taking on Charles Oliveira, aka Du Bronx. And it's a fight. We know the story, right? Topuria, 145 champ, abandons his belt, no longer will deal with the weight cut, and is now chasing for a vacant 155 belt, who was recently given up by Islam, who is moving up to 170. So it's going to be fun if Topuria gets this one done to see if Topuria tries to continue the chase, climb the ladder, and maybe meet Islam at 170. Who knows? But a lot to discuss here before we even get that far, because Topuria is a fat favorite. Talbology's all over him. All of it's brown. They think he's going to sleep Oliveira, easy light work. But my first question to you, me boys, are you surprised at all by the odds? Minus 425 for Top Turo, plus 330 for Du Bronx, who is a guy who, I mean, you don't really even have to describe Charles Oliveira's legacy. This dude has most finishes, most wins. I mean, this dude is one of the legends and one of the goats of the sport. So, are the odds at all disrespectful to Du Bronx, or is Ilia Topuria really that good? Really one of the greats, and he stays undefeated and gets the second belt?
Yeah, man, this is such a crazy fight. I still can't believe this is even happening, to be honest. But I gotta imagine Taporia is gonna knock him out because like Taporia's grappling is just it just seems so insane. So is Charles Oliveira. We know how good it is, but like I don't know. I have a feeling that Taporia might even submit Charles Oliveira. Like at this point, I just can't doubt Taporia until he loses. So I gotta go with Taporia. I think he wins in a beautiful, dominant fashion. I think he gets it done on the feet, on the ground. He's like Charles Oliveira, but he might be just 10 times better. So I think we're gonna see that. I'm very excited to see. This should be a good one.
Yeah, good stuff. And you mentioned the grappling of Topuria. I think a lot of people forget, how skilled he is down there, specifically because he's been getting a lot of knockouts lately, right? He slept Max Holloway, slept Volkanovski, did pick up that dominant decision over Josh Emmett, but only has the one submission victory in the UFC in his career, and that was against Bryce Mitchell, who also is known for his grappling. So I think he made the statement in that fight alone how good he is down there as well. But this is Charles Oliveira, right? This is a dude who used to be a 45er himself before realizing his real potential at 55. And this guy became one of the greatest grapplers in the UFC. Most submissions of all time highlights that. So, are you at all concerned that this fight at 155 might just be where Topuria's size perhaps is exposed? And I mean, we saw his only fight at 155, Topuria that is, against Jai Herbert. And Jai Herbert had him on skates, almost rocked him, almost had him finished before Topuria definitely responded admirably and picked up the finish of his own. But I mean, if you're getting almost slept at this in 155 by Jai Herbert, is it possible that Charles Oliveira can hit you with something stiff as well? What do you make of Topuria at 155? And do you think that the exact same skills, the exact same strength will translate exactly as they did at featherweight?
Yeah, now that he did it the right way, before there was short notice, last second ripper, he got it done. He did the right way. He acclimated his body, his fat, his muscles, everything, and now he's a beefcake. And so I think he did kind of what Charles Oliveira did, where you see mini skinny Charles, and then as he kind of grew into his body, got to an absolute beefcake at the 155er. Um, he could absolutely get exposed, by the way, what you described, but it's just hard for me with the right preparation, he should be ready. I mean, the dude is so dang rich. He was richer than he's almost. I mean, him and Armin Sarukian got to be tied for the two richest people in the UFC, and zero of that money comes from the UFC. So with that kind of technology and infinite money glitch they got,
Yeah, and unlimited refills helps always for sure, and it's a great fight. It's one that I'm super excited for. And you made a great point when you mentioned how that fight against Jai Herbert was on short notice, right? Topuria replaced Mike Davis and made it in a different weight class for sure. So good stuff there, meat boy. If you're taking Ilya Topuria, do you think he's going to go out there and finish Charles Oliveira? And if so, is it KO or statement sub, where he basically, I mean, if you think about it, Max Holloway, right, could never be knocked out. Volkanovski could never be knocked out and is one of the GOATs. Topuria keeps beating guys at their own game. So any chance Ilya Topuria goes out there and gets a submission over the greatest submission artist in UFC history?
I honestly think he will. If he doesn't get a submission, he probably gets KO, but I think he gets a submission just to put a statement saying that he is the best.
It reminds me of John Jones versus Chael Sonnen, right? Where John Jones just ragdolled Chael, beat him at his own game. And John did that in his prime, where he would just fight the type of fight that his opponent would want, but then would be better at their best skill. So I see Topuria as kind of as a similar psycho in that regard. And this dude, I mean, you mentioned the money he has, obviously, but coupled with the money, I mean, this dude also has the drive, the hunger, right? He kind of reminds you of like pre-party Connor, where Connor was so dialed, so one-track minded, and Topuria, even though he has all the money, all the luxury outside of the cage, he has that same hunger and desire as well. So that's kind of, it's like all just, it's all legend driven, it's all legacy driven. So that's a scary dude to mess with for sure. And Oliveira looks really comfortable, right? I mean, I don't know if you've been seeing his stuff on YouTube, the house tours, the amazing stuff he's got going on in his hometown, setting up the jiu-jitsu schools. He's very, I don't want to say comfortable, but has it made, right? This is a legend and OG facing a dude who's fighting for just serious legacy. So I'm with you, boy. I'm going to go Topuria. I'm going to go by finish as well. And I like where our heads are at with the YOLO submission, because I think you're going to be getting probably plus 650-ish. And for Ilya Topuria, who is a guy who is dominant on the ground when he wants to be there, I think that could be juicy beef for sure. So any last thoughts on this one? If you're going Topuria, you said by finish, what round?
I gotta go to Poria KO second round.
Second round KO. I'm going second round submission. Topuria is the overwhelming pick on Tapology, 83%. Only 17 going Charles, though. So if you're one of the 17 that's backing Charles, if you're thinking Charles is one of the best ever and will be the guy that silences this hype beast, let us know in the comments below. But we're both going to continue on with the Topuria hype train for sure. Easy light work, though, me boy. We broke down 6. It was a great card. Obviously, easy to talk about. How do we do after this week, and how easy will the MEATLOCK Talbology dog cash for us?
I think it's going to cash a big beef tenderloins for the grill. And I think this is gonna be a sick card, fun fight nonetheless.
And what's your record?
At least 4 slabs and 2 ice cubes.
Yeah, I'm with that for sure. I'll go 4 slabs, 2 burnt for you, boy, as well. Let us know in the comments, though, if you like any of our picks, if you think that we're sleeping, and if Felipe Ligma is going to make light work of our Talbology dog. But any last thoughts, me boy?
No, fun fight, fun card. Finally, we got a sick card. Go from trash to cash, and MEATLOCK is cashing with a dog.